I should grow up someday, 'cause I got bills to pay. I can't be waking up at someone else's place. I know I drink too much, can't pay my rent this month. I should be saving up, but I just got paid. I'm broke but I'm boring, don't know where we're going. We go in when we go out. I just
Vincent Mangano from the extreme outside. He's got them in the Karaka Million. Sister Havana Estati Katsina shot clear in the Karaka Million. They've got it all parcelled up. Vesper and Mark Duplessis for John O'Benno in the Karaka Million. Melody Bell holding them. Pasahano and Felton Road can't get it. Melody Bell for Fortuna wins the Karaka Million. Avantage, game, set, and match. Avantage wins the Karaka Million.
to the bank, and I know, I should be worried, but I work to the bone, baby. So give me that, 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 give me that money.
Kia ora everyone, good morning and welcome into the first call. Two $1 million races out of Ellerslie tomorrow, pumping into the action today. Jason Tan and Aidan Rodley. That time of year, we really start the excitement.
Oh, it's outstanding. Matthew, hi. Aidan, hello. And to you at home, trying to find a winner over this weekend and maybe focusing on the 6 races out of Ellerslie. Look, Christchurch in November, they have Cup Week. It's an amazing week of racing, obviously harness focused with the Gallops and also the Greyhounds. Auckland in March have their Cup Week, and we've just come out of Wellington Cup Day, of course a third meeting, but there's something about this meeting, this Karaka Million Twilight meeting, that's been changed from Sunday to Saturday that is extra special. Maybe it's just the culture of Auckland that's different from a Wellington and a Christchurch that makes this unique and different in some way. But look, the 2 and 3 year old $1 million races, full fields, outstanding betting propositions and not straightforward, and that's exactly what you want.
Morning, Aidan.
Yeah, morning, Matt. I'm excited too. Obviously, Jason's very.
So we've got
pumped
5
about
minutes
that. But it is, it's New Zealand's richest race meeting, and a 6-race card that they just do it right. And we've got races out of Trentham and Riccarton during the day as well, so we can punt there and then get ourselves ready for Ellerslie at night. And it's going to be a massive day of racing. Obviously, the boys get paid, guys. They've got a whole lot of money to play with, so there's going to be a real interest on there, and of course the atmosphere that they'll bring with that as well. But it needs nothing else anyhow, does it? It's just the best party race meeting in New Zealand.
Over $100,000 in the BGP Bank, so good luck to them. News last night, Jason Tan breaking, no Tiako Shark in the near future.
Yeah, sad that Tiako Shark won't be featuring in Australia in the autumn. Tiako releasing last night that he will be spelled until the spring. I understand a pulled back muscle that's obviously not career ending, but you're not going to progress with a preparation to Australia with any sort of setback like that. So he's in great hands to be looked after. He'll go to the farm and then he'll come back into a spring preparation. And yeah, although it is disappointing that we're not going to have him in Australia, look forward to next season and seeing him in the spring, because he's one of the most exciting horses that sort of I've seen in the past decade that's trained in New Zealand.
Speaking of exciting, Trentham last week, the coverage was just immaculate. Enzo's lad, is he a chance for an invite to Hong Kong?
Oh, well, it sounds like he's already got one. And let's not underestimate what he's been achieving. That's 2 in a row telegraphs, and he's beaten good horses. He beat Kawi last week, and he's beaten some pretty handy ones as well. South Island record, as we said last week, and let's give ourselves a pat on the back there. We said the South Island contingent was strong. They've run 3 of the top 4 in the race. So they've won the last 3 now. South Island sprinters, it's not bad.
And he had to do it with that Group 1 penalty. He didn't get it easy this season. Enzo's lad, he had to do it, having won the Group 1 last year, so it set weights and penalties. He had to carry it. He had to carry the weight and concede weight to others. He earned that with that performance beating Kawi. He got smashed in the handicap ratings, which he should have, but he's come back and justified it. Heck of a run. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll get an invite to Hong Kong. If all goes well, then he'd be the first horse to potentially compete in an international since Benzini competed in the Vase a few years ago now, and also Jimmy Shu went over there. So it's very rare that we have a New Zealand trained horse in Hong Kong. We know that in 2000 Sunline won the mile in spectacular fashion.
I think they were looking earlier though, weren't they? Weren't they looking sort of autumn time?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, and then obviously
I'm just talking about the international races. They sort of
well.
have the December internationals and then the April internationals, which now have 3 Group 1s on the day. The Chairman's Sprint Prize, the Champions Mile, and also the Queen Elizabeth. they've had a sponsorship change there, but they're having the 3 on the one day, so they're having a sort of a mini international day, not in December but in April.
And wouldn't the connections of Ferrando, they ran third to him last year and got beaten in a dead heat, and a thrilling finish, and the scenes there to be part of that as part of the trackside coverage was, it was really one of those days when you get your breath taken away.
Doesn't it raise an interesting thing, doesn't it? Because, obviously we didn't have, the photo wasn't available to be put up. The judge's call took a long time, but that helped create that very special, nearly unrepeatable moment that was the anticipation of waiting for that judge's call to come through. And that's not something you can just replicate. That's live TV unfolding and rolling with it. One thing we wouldn't have got that if we'd rolled off to Australia, last past the post or 1 minute after.
We'd still like to see that photo go up, but obviously, in Dick Hunt's defence, it was dead heat for third and a dead heat for fifth. So it wasn't just about the winning margin that was taking so long, and
It's not for trackside not wanting to put up the photo, though, that we don't put it up.
Yeah, there's been discussions on that on the radio as well. And by all accounts, these days, the Waikato is now part of trackside, from what I understand, so we should be able to get photos up immediately in that region.
I think we'd actually look good doing the first call out of Hong Kong, just up on one of the verandas up there. It'll be nice and warm when Enzo's lad makes his way over. Just a little bit of food for thought. Bang total updates from last week. Let's have a look and see how we got on. I actually had a loss, even though it said 399. I think I lost about 140. Gorbachev was about the only one that got up.
I think I lost more than that. I had just a week where I was just lucky to get a best bet home, and that's about it. But in the end,
Stewie did well.
Yeah, Stewie had a really good week, and he's back up
bit.
to evens, so which is good.
Do you go back and look and see what went wrong? Yeah. It can be frustrating sometimes, can't it?
It can be, and in the end, some of those decisions that I made, I think were, I assessed those markets wrong, and it was just a mistake.
Yeah, I got a lot wrong last week, so we'll be trying to get back on the board in the Karaka Million 2-year-olds tomorrow on Saturday. Here's the market for it. Well, Probable's been so good in the lead-ups to this $3.70. Barry draws come out. Barry is 16 for her. Whiskey Neat, who had a gallop there on Monday, $2.70 now. Tia Lad in the hands of James McDonald. What a book he's got on Saturday, $6.50.
It's sort of it could be a high-low high scenario for Tiako Racing. The high of having 6 qualified and 5 starting in the Karaka Million 2-year-old, to the unfortunate news of Tiako Shark not making the autumn, and tomorrow with that 5-pronged attack, could they peel off the thick end of the $1 million with one of these horses? They don't have the favourite. The favourite is Tony Pike's horse, as a result of Wednesday's barrier draw, which completely reshaped things.
Yeah, it sure did. Also, just there, Alaluna, no jockey at this stage, but Sean Mackay will ride if he is fit. Here's the way we see them landing. Whiskey Neat holding up from the inside, Chatter to press forward, along with the stablemate Louis Luck. And Neptune Spear, this horse has shown immense gate speed in its 2 starts in Brisbane. Beauty Diva will press forward, Exuberance. I think they've got to roll forward from the wide gate, whereas we'll see Probably going back along with Black Rock's Detox and Alaluna.
Aidan, how much of a challenge was it shaping the front end of this map?
I think what we're looking for is those horses. There's probably going to be a 4 wide line here. Jason Waddell said that last week when we spoke to him. He expected to be 4 wide with cover, and he basically was 5 wide with cover in the Telegraph. We just don't have that luxury of mapping them 4 and 5 wide here, but there's a little bit, and it's like even a horse like Flaunting, if there's intent there to lead, it'll be just interesting to see whether that horse has got sufficient barrier speed to be a factor in the speed. But I think there's enough early pressure to make this a truly run.
More than most Karaka Million 2-year-olds, this does look like a year where there will be sustained pressure and not a case of a quick 200-300 metre dash and then horses and jockeys sitting up like is often the case.
Last couple of years,
that's right. Yeah. That's often the case. I think the last time there was a sort of a run-on was one of Liam Birchley's horses,
Hardline, about 2:15.
Damien Brown settled back and took runs in between them as a super ride. But you just get the feeling there'll be a lot of pressure all throughout. So it's going to sort out the best 2-year-olds from the 2-year-olds that don't quite have it just yet. Yeah,
well, one horse who's going to potentially cop a lot of that pressure is this horse, Whiskey Neat. Of course, he went in for a gallop on Monday, and from all reports, Tony Pike very happy with him after
saw that
this
gallop
run. So that's a positive in its own right. But look, he's a gelding, so you'd think that he'll cop it a little bit better mentally, potentially. But Gee, it's been a pretty good path so far, Jason.
Oh, look, he's a half a 3-year-old, you know. He's got a lot about him, this horse. He's sort of maybe wobbling around a little bit there, but you can see Leith Innes straightening him up the last 50 metres.
And holds on the line,
holding
right?
Aotea Lad, who was an excellent run.
Yeah, has come from a long way back in a race where it wasn't easy to do that. Opie Boston's dictated that Ala Luna was down on the inside, which maybe they didn't want to be, and that horse has made up okay ground. The interesting thing I take out of that race, the Eclipse, is that Leith Innes was he was quite conservative with the speed that he was setting for that horse, and I thought it was more about shaping the Karaka Million preparation. I think he can go faster. And that's going to be key to it as well.
Well, speaking of fast, this was very fast from Probabeel.
It was a sprint home, but the manner with which he still managed to come off them and sprint past them, Opie Boston was pretty sort of kind to her the last sort of 30, 40 metres when he felt that he was going to get the job done. As soon as he clicked her up, he got a response as well.
Yeah.
You'd think that a fast run race is going to be perfect for her given where she's drawn. She has the visor blinkers applied. And so she's going to appreciate
So visor
a really
blinkers,
good pace.
for anyone who doesn't know, are blinkers with holes in them, basically.
Yeah, and basically I spoke to Jamie Richards about that this morning. The option to use the visor blinkers rather than the full blinkers, he said, we just want to go halfway. And he just doesn't want to find, especially with Aotea Lads getting the same gear change, is that on Sunday they're thinking, why didn't I apply them? So it's certainly, it's just... They've got that little extra tweak that they're able to use in this situation, so they are.
Well, they're not going to get a chance to over-race, are they? Over 1,200 metres, these 2-year-olds,
Not
they just
with the
run
speed
so
that we're going to
hard.
see here, exactly. Yeah. So that's going to let Probabeel settle in.
Just one thing about Whiskey Neat on Monday. Worked with Indecision, who's obviously a high-class sprinting mare, and Tony Pike worked Whiskey Neat with her, and the intent was to sit off her, which they did for much of that gallop before when they sort of sprinted in the straight. So what he's done, excuse me, what he's done is he's sort of wanted to educate him to potentially take that sit. So it's not a one-dimensional scenario with Whiskey Neat. I think they are going to go into that race prepared if there is a big speed duel from that draw to potentially let a couple of them go and have him travel in behind. And I think they're confident that he'll be able to, in clear running, come off their backs and be a factor as well. So he's got a draw for Leith Innes to make all the choices and to be in control of his own destiny largely. He jumps well. If no one takes him on, then he's got a soft lead and he'll kick off the top and be hard to beat. And if there is pressure, he'll just allow them to go, come in behind and then make his run in the straight.
He's a big race jockey, Leith Innes. And one other thing that he might have up his sleeve that he just might let Whiskey Neat run, because he's the fastest horse in the race. He could well just let him run, a la Gifted Power from Levin Stakes type scenario, because that's what they did that day. But I still think he's got another gear. I think there's still something we haven't seen from Whiskey Neat, and I think it could well come out in the Karaka Million.
He looks pretty special, doesn't he? Well, the great advert for Showcasing. We're going to take a look at a couple of his 2-year-olds now in the form of Appellant and Beauty Diva. Here's Beauty Diva on the rail, of course, won one of the first 2-year-old races at Pukekohe. But Appellant, you can't help but think that this is just a scopy horse, Jason, with a bit of improvement there.
It was a very soft win, wasn't it, by the daughter of Showcasing. I think she's going to have to find a level, and it's not easy to assess, this run on the track conditions. Therefore, that's what's just tricky about that. That Boxing Day track was heavily rain affected. She could come out of the ground and
it didn't look overly comfortable the last bit.
No, and a few of them did on that day. So it's just a little bit hard to get a line on her compared to those that have really run along on top of the ground so far. Yeah,
Blackrock's Detox I thought was eye-catching, has made up very good ground in both starts so far, and looks to be a horse who will be one to take advantage should they go really hard in front. Doesn't have a lot of early lick, but does have speed. And going back to the Showcasing factor, 4 of the 16 runners by Showcasing, so a quarter of the field, and Honui Farm have got 3 in the race too, so kudos to both of them.
No, absolutely it is. Well, one horse who has already run time in his limited career. We speak of Louis Luck, the son of Dissident. 108.64 he's run here on his own, Aidan.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive performance because the fugitive who sat on his outside had won impressively on debut, but He was good to the line. He looks to have improvement in him. He certainly will have after a race day outing.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll press forward, and that'll give Brendan Lindsay the base of having one on speed and one who'll be a chaser. So great for Brendan and Joe Lindsay as well. Cambridge Stud in their colours, having a couple in the Kanaka Million before they sell their first draft from Cambridge Stud at Kanaka on Sunday afternoon.
He's drawn to be right there, isn't he? So you'd be surprised if he's not in the top 2 or 3, sort of creating or helping to create some of that pace, along with the Australian Neptune's Spear. Liam Birchley took Neptune's Spear to Ellerslie on Monday for a gallop, and he breezed up really quickly. He's a bit of a speed machine. The question is, can he extend that out to 1,200 metres? His 2 runs in Australia, he's looked good, but the extent of his distance range was 1,100 and he got run down, albeit carrying weight and conceding weight to others.
He had no pressure on speed in either of those when they're going to be 3 or 4 across the track, and this on speed you'd think. So, I'll be a little bit dubious, but on what we've sort of seen from him so far, I think he's a factor. He's in the top 5 in my betting.
What are we going to do, Jason? From what we know now, the 2-year-olds, have you singled one out?
Well, I had Whiskey Neat and Probabeel priced up exactly the same. And I know that Whiskey Neat has that draw advantage, but because of that, it means that Probabeel's the bet for me. I've got Whiskey Neat as second selection. I don't feel right not being on him, but he's just a bit tight for me because there is going to be a bit of pressure. Your deal, I thought, was real value. I thought the performance at Ellerslie in a slowly run race where he was still there was very good. I think he probably maps just a little bit better than Probabeel to maybe sit a pair or 2 closer. And if there's a lot of pressure, he could just be in that sweet spot on the map where he's produced to come late. So those are the 2 win bets. I've got a Quinella that includes Whiskey Neat and also Aotea Lad. Okay,
now I'm fairly similar. And once again, I've got absolute utmost respect for Whiskey Neat, but the price is just, I couldn't back him basically. So I've gone with Probabeel 20 over 50 there. A saver on Aotea Lad, which will cover that bet, and I'm also taking 10 a place on Black Rocks Detox.
You know what's cool is that you speak to some of these connections, and whilst they're not sort of, whilst it's not a case of, say, being arrogant, they're all confident about how their runners are. I know that Tony Pike is very confident. Jamie Richards is confident that all 5 of his runners are going to be presented well. Liam Birchley's confident that he's got the right horse that can be competitive. So you've got these leading chances where their trainers are very confident, and I'm sure the likes of David Green would be very happy with where his filly's at as well. So it's going to be a really cool race.
Yeah, you speak of flaunting, who, again, is by showcasing. Stay with us here on The First Call. After this, we're going to have a look, this time, at the 3-year-olds.
Metres to go, Madison County sprinting, Hypnos after it, Lincoln Falls wider and Burn and me the inside, but it is Madison County, 2 good, Madison County back-to-back Group 1s.
Madison County, a dual Group 1 winner, goes around to the top of the book in the Kanaka Million 3-year-old, and we're going to take a look at the market for it. He's been fantastic so far, Aidan. It's hard to go past him, but at $2.70, is he on or near his mark at that price?
Yeah, he's under where I had him, but you're exactly right. Hawke's Bay Guineas, 2,000 Guineas, Levin Classic. He's been the yardstick 3-year-old, and he just finds that way to win. He's never missed a placing in his life, so I thought he mapped perfectly to get a lovely spot. So 270, it's on the skinny side for me, but I was really struggling to find, a horse that I thought, wow, that one's standing out as terrific value here, but what a race. There's quality right throughout, and we're going to see a decent horse win this, no question.
We've got the Australian Long Leaf lining up in there as well, Sir Peter Vella sharing in the ownership of that galloper. Miss Labassa is an interesting horse, and you've mapped her to go forward. Where are we at with her, Aidan? Is she untapped?
I don't know. We just don't know. But she has been the shortener in the race so far as well. She is the likely leader in the race. She's unbeaten in 3. Queen of Diamonds to press forward. Red Dynamo out there as well. There is a decent speed. Preferred just gets there by virtue of a good draw. Outside that, we've got Madison County. I've got it in a good spot. It'll be interesting to see where Jason had this horse mapped. A wide draw for Longleaf. Don't know where they're going to end up. Surely Sacred heading there and then getting back. Horses like Imelda Mary, who is dropping back in distance from the Royal Stakes last time.
Does it make it difficult for these horses like Media Sensation, Sir Nate, potentially a Hypnos with how far they're going to settle off such quality gallopers?
I think it does to a degree, but obviously with there being a big field, 18 of them in this race, there will be pressure. That just goes with the territory of having a large field.
Well, we go back and have a look at Madison County, Jason, with reference to Aidan's speed map. Do you see it being a similar run in transit as to what he got in the Levin Classic?
I thought he might be a little bit further back than where you had him, Aidan, but, you know, around that midfield position, we're sort of splitting hairs, really. He'll be around midfield. He's sort of settled back on the rail this day. What punctuates Madison County is his turn of foot.
And his courage.
Yeah.
Jeez, he's willing.
And I think Andrew Forsman touched on it in the post-race interview there. He's sort of nimble and able to take gaps. He's not the biggest horse in the world, but it makes him tractable when he needs to take runs that might be not quite there for other horses.
That was 2 months between runs too.
Yeah, so he will be sharper this time round, you'd expect.
He will undoubtedly be a better horse, right?
Yeah, there's a few in that same boat, though, that had sort of been given, brief lead-ups after Riccarton, so... but... I don't know, 270 is a skinny price. Did you have anywhere near that?
Look, on the Wednesday, when the barrier draws came out, I thought, you know what, bookmakers will probably go even money to slide odds against maybe 2 to 250. And then I sort of went through the market the last couple of days and went through the form, and I couldn't get him less than $4, and I don't like that because he's clearly the one to beat in the race.
Yeah.
But at 270, actually, he is very short. But there are other horses there that sort of might have a map advantage and all that sort of thing. And
yeah, while we're talking about the Levin Classic, we'll talk about Hypnos, the son of Reliable Man. Ryan Elliott's in great form at the moment. Give you a bit of confidence around it, Jason. Hypnos, in regards to Aidan's speed map, he had him settling a little way off the speed. With that tempo, is there enough speed for you that could bring a horse like Media Sensation or Hypnos into it?
Yeah, look, I didn't think they would be going really, really hard in the middle stages. I think there might be a bit of competition, but again, I can see them really sitting up in the middle stages of this race. So
a lot will depend on who's caught wide at that point, right?
Yes.
Because if someone's caught wide who really can roll forward and take advantage, it will be interesting because obviously 1,600 metres, even for a lot of these 3-year-olds, even though they might be in Derby preparations, 1,600 metres in an 18-horse field will be a test.
I thought that maybe Longleaf could be the runner that would be pressing forward as well, with James McDonald riding for Coolmore and the Hayes Debenham stable. I thought that he would be a horse from where he's drawn that they could press the button and take a forward spot. He was very good. In the Sandown Guineas, he wasn't far away from a couple of decent gallopers. So
Start before that in the Coolmore and behind Sunlight. Yeah, it brings some fantastic form. We'll talk more on him in a moment and hopefully get a word from Dan O'Sullivan later. He'll be on the show to give us his thoughts on the Australians. Well, Surely Sacred, another horse that went to Ellerslie on Monday for a gallop. Fantastic in this run. Is he a live winning chance for you, Aidan, with just 3 runs under his belt?
Absolutely. This was some performance. That's more Wonder on the inside, who we know what he's done at Trentham, and obviously he wasn't the kindest ride this day, comes up the inside, but Surely Sacred has come from last run down, the leader in the race who's finished second. Some performance. He's never run worse than second. He was second here in a Bone Crusher Stakes, so he's had a couple of looks around Ellerslie now. He doesn't have any early speed, but he's got immense ability, and absolutely, he can win this.
That showed an immense turn of. He showed an immense turn of foot there in that race relative to others, and those sort of form lines suggest that they very much stack up. So that's, I think, what has Leith Innes and Tony Pike so excited about this horse, is that turn of foot that he showed, and it's not fully revealed on the sectionals of the day because he hasn't had to sustain a fast 800 metres or a 400 metres. He's sort of been there, then produced late, and he's shown a very sharp sprint there that says that he's real quality.
Was there any favour in the track that day? Was it exasperated a little bit because he was in better ground?
He was in the right part of the track. Yeah. More Wonder was on the inside, and maybe the inside doesn't suit him either. But that said, he's come from behind every other horse and gone straight past them.
And half-weaved all over the show too.
That's right, in the space of 200 metres.
Yeah.
You know, so good gallopers do that. and he's one of them for sure.
Do you like Pin Me Down?
Pin Me Down was maybe a little bit disappointing last time, but if there's a genuine tempo in the race, then you can see it sort of settling back.
She
in
was on
midfield
the
and
quick
coming
back
into it.
up, and they weren't too sure whether they'd actually do that. Her win in the 8 carat was first class, and this is the race. Obviously, then backed up and just didn't sort of figure against the Imelda Mary in that Royal Stakes. Queen of Diamonds just maybe just came to the end of it here, obviously, but whether she was one short, I'm not too sure, and whether she's going to improve. But
And again, it was a heavy track.
covered.
Yeah, it was a heavy track. So
And she was left alone for quite the way up the straight too.
yeah, so she was given a task up to 1600. I know she was pretty much 1550.
Murray
so pretty
Baker
much
told me this
1600.
week she is flying in her work, so he's really happy with her going into this.
One thing with Pin Me Down, that 2000 back to 1600 formula, it's a formula that you see Chris Waller use quite a lot leading into those feature miles, getting horse, sometimes the 3-year-olds as well, 2000 metres drop back to
a mental
1600
thing, isn't it?
metres. And they'll be hard and fit and ready. It's a formula that you see more and more, or used more and more by the leading trainers there.
And often when you're on the punt, if you can find one who's 2,000 back to 1,600 in the right sort of race, it can be a winning formula there too. Media sensation, has it been made too hard for her with the potential pattern of the race and where she draws?
Maybe. And what do you say about that last start run? I know Peter Williams has told stewards that she's come through it fine and that they've beat it up fine. But the performance in the 8 carat was concerning. But it was out of character as well because she had shown that she was so good prior to that. She's just a really good racehorse. She's won 5 of 7, a Group 1 winner. If she bounces back, she is right in the mix here.
Well, before that, she was 5 from 6 and a 4th, so nearly an impeccable form line. So that's way out of character. You've got to forget it. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, what's changed between then and now that's going to give you more confidence? Without sort of really knowing the underlying issue that very few people can, pinpoint what it is. You're taking her on trust. But if you're taking her on trust and at her best, then she's right in it. And I wouldn't be surprised whether they try and be positive as well. Yeah. It'll be a tough task for her from that draw to be, if they go back with her, that's the issue. So she's going to have to work, so that's not going to be straightforward.
It might be a case of watching the market and then seeing what the gents have to say on Saturday, so we'll keep a close eye on Media Sensation. A couple of others, Jason, Imelda Mary and Miss Labassa. Imelda Mary's taken a step up at 1,600. Wayne Hillis has been pretty patient. And Miss Labassa, where do you kind of see her sitting?
She showed a real turn of foot and brilliance when she won at Awapuni. There's no doubting that, Miss Labassa. So she is one of the speed influences of the race. She's going to have to take another step up because, again, it was very much a sit-sprint race that she competed in. She's won over the 16, that's a positive. That's definitely a positive for her, but she hasn't been in a real hard-run race yet.
Yeah, Sir Nate comes in a couple of kilograms better and couldn't be the worst. He's placed in a Group 1 and he's gone well at Ellerslie, without winning in the past.
Well, he's a little bit like Secret Allure, isn't he, in terms of Lisa Latter runners being able to stay up for such a long time and race so consistently. She got her reward last weekend. Jason, is Sir Nate a chance of running in full?
Yep. Definitely. Settle midfield or just back of midfield, had that soft run and you could see him poking up like he has done in the past, just in behind them, but he'll run a genuine race, he invariably does. I mean, he was a really good run in the 2000 Guineas, Sir Nate.
Tough race.
Swords drawn quickly?
Well, again, like Prince Albert, they're both coming out of that Silver over 2,100 last time, freshened and back in distance. Swords Drawn still a maiden, but does look like he might be a Derby horse. This might be a little bit rich though.
Yeah, okay. Bets, Jason?
I was going to go Madison County, but he's just a bit short. So I've gone each way on Longleaf, and I've also taken a Quinella with Madison County and Longleaf. Surely Sacred, I can't leave out, and I have to include Queen of Diamonds as well. But this is a really good betting race if you like a particular horse. Invariably, outside of Madison County, you're getting a price.
What price would you back Madison County at?
I marked him at 4, and remembering betting to 100%, so it's a 100% market. So it's unlikely that I'll be on him, and I feel sick about it, really. Like I might have just completely shouldered arms to the winner. But
Okay. Aidan?
I'm spending half my starting bank this week, but nothing in this race. I found it too hard, so I'm going to leave this race out.
Well, make sure you give us a decent push around the Australians and in particular Media Sensation. Looking forward to hearing what you guys have got to say about her on track there on Saturday. Well, the sprinters go around also on Karaka Million Race Night, and we chat about them after this.
Santa Monica, Melody Bell's arriving, but she's going to be too late at the line. A ball over. Santa Monica's won the Sistema Railway.
Come on, baby, it won't take long. Only take a minute just to sing my song. Bonnie Maroney's gonna be with him. I said, now, Charles Stanley's gonna be with Slim. A shot fat fan is gonna.
Santa Monica winning the railway there. Preferment at Bright Hill Farm Concord comes up on Saturday over 1,200 metres. And Santa Monica is back to continue on its winning run and takes on a fantastic field of sprinters. Here is the market for the 1,200 metre open feature. $5 Stratocaster, Opie Bosson, decent book of rides for him during the day. Princess Kiridu for the Donahue Kelso team and Cameron Lammas, $6.50. Spring Heat a little shorter at $6. Tommy Berry to do the riding. And then we get down to Ardrossan. A 4-year-old entire by Reduced Choice, $4.20 and $1.80. First up at Te Araha was fantastic, and with the ownership group, Jason, he's got Stallion written all over him, and a Concord on his resume wouldn't look bad.
Look outstanding. He's drawn 12, so Michael McNabb will have a bit of fun from that barrier draw. However, he does have tactical speed, and I would expect that they'll be using it from that draw. Because even though this is a sprint race, Aidan, I didn't map there to be an abundance of early speed. Have I seen it differently to you?
No, I've got a lot of pressure for positions though, because there isn't a clear leader. And so if there is, say Michael McNabb wants to be in front, then I think he can be.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what they do with the Volks Lightning, but I would imagine they'd want to be really positive there. Everloyal first up since this meeting last year. I think they'll press forward, and Mahalo, another one who's likely to go forward as well. But the most interesting part about this is just all those weight swings going from set weights and penalties back to handicaps.
Well, you have a look at a horse like Ardrossan, who's drawn wide, 3 lengths off Osborne Bulls back last year after getting on pace. Would there be a chance to push the button with it early?
Oh, I think they will. Yeah, I think Stephen Marsh is a positive trainer as well. I know you look at sort of the Baker Forsman horse and they err on being positive. I think he's a horse that has that speed. If you're leading a 1,400 metre race at Caulfield, then you should be, in the mix over 1,200 metres at Ellerslie. I'm sure that'll be their intention. Jason Waddell took a sit this day because there were, and this is a lower grade, a far lower grade. But he took a sit this day behind horses that were sort of hell-bent on being in front of him. Looked like he's in a bit of trouble here, but he clicked him up and then he drew clear. So this is nice, this last part of this race for Ardrossan.
Exactly, Michael McNabb chasing him there, so he's got a really good idea about how well Ardrossan goes. He rode the second horse. He's got to get down to 53 kilograms, which will be no easy task, but 53 will make it a whole lot easier to get to that speed and then to sustain it as well.
How did you price him up, Jason?
I priced him as a bet in the race, but a marginal one. I priced him the same as Stratocaster, so I'll be playing both of them. But look, there are a number of horses that I'm sure people will be keen on. Like Princess Kiridu has been in great form, and like Santa Monica won the railway. Like Santa Monica, she is a Group 1 winner now, but can she carry 60 and concede 3.5 to Princess Kiridu, concede 5 to Volks Lightning, and concede 7 effectively to Stratocaster?
Yeah, it's a 7 kilogram swing from the railway, Stratocaster against Santa Monica. And it's not like Stratocaster's been out of form. He's gone on to Ellerslie and won since as well. One of those really interesting weight swings, you go back to the Swain S Sprint at Rotorua, which Volks Lightning won off the front. That was the race where we thought, hang on, Santa Monica would be doing something here because, flash time, not well placed at the weights. But this time round, there's a 10 kilogram swing towards Volks Lightning. Now that is massive. How does Santa Monica, who chased Volks Lightning home that day, beat Volks Lightning, giving the horse another 10 kilograms?
Yeah, well, it's the only horse backing up from last week's Telegraph as well. Do you have any theory on that, on the quick backup being the only horse in there, on that backup?
There's a few who tried it last year and it didn't work out. I think Enzo's Lad was one, Ferrando I think was the other. Just from memory, I could have that quite wrong, but neither horse went that flash. So
she's a big, good-doing mare, though,
Yep.
Volks Lightning, so she
Absolutely.
potentially
She's
may
placed
well
in
cop it.
a railway before, so she's got the ability, and at 56 kilograms, she's not the worst place.
Let's go back and have a look at the railway. Victorious here, Santa Monica, as we mentioned, up 7 kilos on this effort. Volkswagen finishes into 10th after doing a bit of work. Stratocaster, do you give him a pass mark here, Aidan?
Absolutely. Now, I tell you what, you look at where he is there, he's on the back of Santa Monica. Now, in the end, he drops off by maybe a couple of lengths, but you swing this by 7 kilograms, you can't tell me that he's not going to beat Santa Monica. So on that, he's gone on, won at Ellerslie next time out, producing the best sectionals in the race. And like he even meets Princess Ketetu 3.5 kilograms better. I'm really liking Stratocaster here. He's run 32.93 for his last 600 last time out. So you got to give Santa Monica credit because her win that day was superb, and I've just loved her coming through. But under 60 kilograms in this concourse, she just doesn't look really that well placed. And same goes for Princess Ketetu. But you got to respect them because of those railway runs. They were absolutely top class.
Well, she is genuine Santa Monica, and she maps, I think, in a sweet spot, like sort of midfield, not dissimilar to the railway there. So you know, if she lobs there, then she'll be fighting it out. She won't. She won't shirk her task to the line, and if Stratocaster is a very in-and-out galloper, brings one of his out days, then she could finish in front of him. But I have made him a bet, and I've also made a Drossen a bet. Just small win bets on both of those, Stratocaster and a Drossen there. But, you know, Riki Tiki Tavi's very close to being an each-way bet in the race. She comes in freshened. I like that about her. I like the fact that she's going to get a good track at Ellerslie on Saturday. The weather says it's going to be a perfect track. And she has form lines all around these horses. Like they've been racing together all season and even before then. And it's those weight swings that Aidan talked about that if she brings her best, then she could be flashing into it.
You speak of form being around horses. Well, we haven't seen him for a while. Ever Loyal, we were fortunate enough to see him gallop on Monday at Ellerslie. The 3-year-old form around him and around all of those others has well and truly stacked up over the last 18 months. Any reason why it won't, if not here, second or third up?
Oh, look, he's certainly in contention. He looked okay in the gallop on Monday. No sort of knock on him at all. Tony Pike will be, he said, restricting him to sort of 1,200-1,400 metre races in the first instance and seeing how he stacks up. But he was earmarked to go to Hong Kong and had a minor issue there that was enough for him not to go. So that's why he's sort of back here, which is to our benefit. We get to see a really good horse race, and he's got a bit ahead of him. What is he? He's like 4 years old, so he's got a bit ahead of him. Yeah,
just going back to what I said about Volks Lightning and Santa Monica, the swing's actually from the Ellerslie race on the 8th of December rather than the Swainey Stakes, so I just got that slightly wrong. In this race, I'm going with Stratocaster on an each-way basis, and then 2-win, 5 place on Riki Tiki Tavi, who I thought was a value bet at 17s. Here's another horse
you'd like to too.
Yeah, she comes in really well at the weights as well, and her last start run in behind Princess Ketetu was very good, and I think what's the swing there, 3.5 kilograms, meets Santa Monica, who was second in that race, 7 kilograms better. So I'm really basing this on weights and measures, and obviously you just don't know how they've improved or what they're all capable of, but I'm happy with the way I've chosen it.
No, look, it's a theory that has well and truly worked. Spring Heat, Jason, I know that Stu Lang's pretty keen on this horse, and we'll see that in his bets later on in the program. Her situation in this lineup from a wideish barrier draw?
Well, one thing about sort of Tommy Berry as a rider, there's something about how he rides that really suits horses that relax and get back and that can come with that sprint. So he's going to suit Spring Heat down to the ground. I think that's how she's best ridden. She'll be ridden off the speed, and if they go a little bit hard, she can track into it. And we know the brilliance that she possesses. She will have to step up a level, but it wouldn't surprise me to see her get into it. It's hard to price her up because she hasn't sort of done it against a lot of these, but she's got that potential that could have a factor.
I had her at 14 in this race, and I thought the market's got her too short.
OK, Westbury Classic, Volpe Veloce heads up the top of the order for this. 1,400 metres seems to be her ideal trip at this stage of her career. $2.80 indecision. From the Tony Pike base, $9.50. Living on a Prayer, 7. And Le Castile, who... Look, was it fair to say she was a little bit disappointing before her recent trial, Jason?
Le Castile, well, she's won her last 2, so at what point...
I'm thinking of the wrong horse, sorry.
Oh, you're talking about that other sprinter, Joanna, that sprint out of the Blackie, the Blackie stable. Look, she's in great form, Le Castile.
Yeah.
7 and 240 the price for it. What about the pace over 1,400 here, Aidan? Sleeping Beauty on speed. Would she be wanting a bit of sting out of the ground though?
Well, she didn't need it in the railway. She was terrific that day and they took a sit. I think they've got to go forward and just give her a chance to run here. Lucian Rio likes to go forward as well in decision. La Castile probably gets to the 1-1 or maybe the trail, depending on what they do with Mon Recur. And then you've got Volpe Veloce. What do they do there? I don't think they'll want the fence, but that's where I have mapped her. Gee, she was good in the railway. You've got Living on a Prayer, Bisu and Save the Date all going back.
Look, she was as good as Melody Bell, wasn't she? Volpe Veloce, as we're going to see again. Look where she is. I know she takes inside runs as opposed to Melody Bell going and taking outside runs, but yeah, she was very good. Boy, this is a quandary horse, though, this Volpe Veloce, isn't she? She's got such an outstanding 1,200 metre record. It does look as though 1,400 will suit her. She was good at Pukekohe going back to November in the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders when placing behind Bisu. She looks like she'll be hard to hold out.
Absolutely. This is an absolute top-notch run. I said last week I think that Melody Bells was the best beaten run of the season, but you look at that again and Volpe Veloce has real claims on that as well. It's a super performance. Her right-hand record, she's won 6 of 8. Her Ellerslie record, 4 of 5. And it does look as though 1,400 metres is going to be ideal. I thought she was one of the bets of the day. She's a standout in this.
How short would you want to back her?
I had her at 2.6 in this. So where was she again in the market? So I think she was a little bit longer than that. So I'm happy to be betting her on a decent go. I thought Bisu was the other one in this race. You go back 3 starts into the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders and actually beat Volpe Veloce home. The last couple just haven't suited. You can't get back at Awapuni when the small fields and quickly run races, and that form stacked up with Shadows Cast winning at Thorndon. So I'm happy enough to say her form's going well enough, and I'm giving her an each-way chance in the race.
The horse that I was really interested in is Living on a Prayer outside of Volpe Veloce, whom I've got as the main spend in the race. Living on a Prayer is obviously on the quick backup after the Telegraph performance, but in the same race last year, when she was sort of on the way up and she had won that Rising Stars race, she finished a very good 5th. And I thought a field that was a fraction stronger than the field that she'll line up against tomorrow.
How does she turn the tables on Volpe Veloce, though, considering the runs that they got in the railway?
I think the 1,400 metres suits Living on a Prayer, and you might, I wouldn't say that it doesn't necessarily suit Volpe Veloce, but I think that extra distance suits Living on a Prayer more. I just think the 12 is just a fraction short, but look, Indecision's a horse that could find the front and not get any pressure. She's in great form. 1,400
metres has always been her query.
That is definitely the query, and there are a couple of horses there, like Sleeping Beauty as well, where that extended sprint trip might be just a sort of a question mark.
Okay, let's turn over to the Mongolian Khan Trophy. One horse here that I know Aidan Rodley's pretty keen on. Sits up the top of the book, 230 Sword of Osman.
Absolutely, I thought this was a standout in this race. 230, he's a winner of 5 of 10, very good last time out, and he will have taken improvement from that. He probably goes forward, just where he ends up I'm not too sure, because there is going to be intent from horses like One Kotuku Street, Maison Roxanne and King Louis is certain to go forward. Just be interesting to see just how they settle in this one. How did you see this?
I reckon McDonald will take the back of Sword of Osman.
Yep.
And it just depends on whether O.P. Bosson wants to be aggressive and get the front off One Kotuku Street, or whether he sits outside of the leader like he did a couple of weekends ago at Ellerslie. And he was pretty good, wasn't he?
No, he's really good.
I mean, it's a soft win. There wasn't any pressure in the race, and that's what he needs.
Exactly.
And when there's pressure early, I don't know that he's... I don't know that he's sort of been able to absorb it, because you know early season 3-year-old against King Louis, for example, King Louis is 2-0 against him when they've been in the same race.
Yeah. But I think he's a 1,200 metre horse, right?
Yes,
and so I think that's going to make a big difference to him. He did win a Sarton over 1,400 metres earlier in the season, but I think
that was like about a 400 metre race.
Yeah, I think he's a 1,200 metre horse, and I can see this being almost a blueprint of last year with Melody Bell and Opie. He'll try and make it the same, I'm sure. So he's my bet of the day, Sword of Osman, and I'm quite happy to go on his nose.
Jason, do we give Bit Lippy a chance back in trip?
I think 1,200 metres certainly suits Bit Lippy. Gets a nice run in the race, but yeah, could cause that, I guess, minor upset.
Okay, we're going to the stayers now, stepping to the 2,200 metres in the Karaka Cup. This will be the first race on the program. Mongolian Marshal, $2.70, $5.50 the Good Fights, $4.80 a little short of 5 to Midnight, again carrying the top weight. How did you have them priced up here, Jason?
At the Good Fight favourite in this race. So it's a little bit on spec, I must say, because obviously Mongolian Marshal and 5 to Midnight have competed in far better races. But I took a line through the New Year's Day performance when even though he was beaten behind Starry Beale, he cut out some really good 800, 600, 400, 200 metre sectionals that said he wasn't far away from those horses. He had to do it with 58. He's dropping back to 53 kilograms. I think he's a stayer on the rise, and he can win it. He just needs a genuine tempo. I'm hoping with Red Cayenne and Bully Boy there will be a genuine tempo in the race. And if he gets that, then I think he can prove himself to be a really good stayer.
How good's Bully Boy with 50 kilos? Is he up to this class to be in it for a long way?
Oh, look, he beat Gundown last start, didn't he? Like, he withstood Gundown was a flashing red light performance, but was well ridden and well handled, was put in the right spot, and he fought, he stayed. So, sort of can't knock him, but I really like this run of the Good Fight.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm taking a lead from Jason Waddell. I'd sort of asked him at some point, is he a Cups horse and waiting? He said he's a Cups horse now. He said he's there. He is the finished product. And this performance was top class. He just looks to be a horse with a lot of upside. And I'm happy to be on him. He just couldn't run down Starry Beale here, but I thought he was very hard to beat. And the other interesting horse is the other 53 runner here, Sacred Day, who just got too far back and in a race that was sort of sedately run at Tauranga last time out. So I think he's an improver as well. Obviously the Waikato Cup winner, Mongolian Marshal, is the yardstick, and 5 to Midnight's done it all there. But they're meeting two really progressive rising horses further down. I'm going to back them both. So Good Fight and Sacred Day for me. Jason, for you?
Oh, I'm actually similar,
In fact, I'm just going to go the Good Fight. In fact, I did leave Sacred Day. I was taking your bets.
You were taking this. I've backed the Good Fight and also Sacred Day. Look, there wasn't too much between Sacred Day, Gundown, Mongolian Marshal sort of window with 3-year-olds. And so I think that Sacred Day can take that step up. Had absolutely no luck, was slow away at Tauranga. You basically put a line through it, but it was a good pipe opener for Saturday. That's a really good opener, the Karaka Cup. And, Mongolian Marshal and 5 to Midnight, they're the ones that have performed. But I think the Good Fight and Sacred Day might be able to show their worth up in class.
Nice work. Plenty of Australian interest at the Karaka Million on Saturday across both $1 million races. Dan O'Sullivan's here next to chat all things thoroughbred racing from Australia.
Bonamy, Jungle Eyes is game. Bonamy dives. Oh, nearly a dead heat here. Very close between Jungle Eyes and Bonamy. Sweet Scandal nicely clear, and Sweet Scandal, well done to Robbie Dolan, gets the hot favourite home.
Love tuning into our Australian races, and Dan O'Sullivan loves talking to us about Australian races. Morning, Dan. Welcome to the show. How's the week been?
Yeah, morning's been really good so far, but really looking forward to the weekend, both here in Australia and certainly at Ellerslie as well.
Yeah, it should be a great day. We'll get to Ellerslie in a moment. Have you found us a couple over the ditch for our punters on Saturday?
Yeah, look, my best in Australia for the weekend. We'll start off at Caulfield Race 1, Crack the Code. She's a lightly raced, promising filly for Mick Price, and I really liked her first up win over 1,000 at Moonee Valley. In particular, as they rounded the bend, all the other runners were under pressure in that race, and she was bolting in behind them with still a stack to offer. And when the split came, she showed a really genuine turn of foot to race clear and score a very soft win. And I've got no doubt that had she been clear early, she would have won by much further. So as it stands at the moment, her rating from that run's already clearly the best in this field. And there's such obvious upside for her to go to another level. And I really love tapping into those types of horses as betting prospects. She's around 220 in the market at the moment, which I think is a really nice bet. And I actually believe that around a shade of odds on is her right price. And for the second one, we'll head over to Morfettville on the Parks track, race 2, Mazurek. This mare's been starting big odds in the last couple, but she's run really well, finishing less than half a length from the winner. Her ratings from those runs give her a nice edge over this field, and she returns back to the Parks track where she's previously won 3 from 6. At the moment, she's around 270, second favourite, and it's just a 5-horse field behind one called Zalmona, and he's racing in good form. But what I don't think the market's reflected yet is that his best figures are clearly at the 1,050, and this is a 1,250 metre race, and his two recent runs in that sort of distance range have been a little bit off. So I think Mazurek should probably be favourite in this race, and given she's second favourite at the moment, I think that's also a really nice bet on the day.
Okay, a Mick Price runner in the first of the day at Caulfield. That'll do me. What about the two Australians in the Karaka Million races, Dan? Let's start away with Longleaf. How do you assess his chances up against the New Zealand 3-year-olds, in particular the very classy Madison County?
Yeah, look, I think he's got some claims here. He's certainly not hopeless. He ran third, it was, beat only a length in the Sandown Guineas over 1,600 in November, right towards the end of the spring. And look, to be honest, the performance ratings out of that race really measure up well to that race at Ellerslie on Saturday. I think there's no doubt that Ring-a-Ding Ding and Seabrook, who finished ahead of Longleaf in that race, are at least as good as Madison County. And Longleaf was only a length behind them. He's got a number of other solid ratings as well that measure up. What I will say about him is that I think 1,600 is really a stretch for him. And as I said, he was third in that Sandown Guineas, but I think it really stretches his capabilities. So he'll probably need a really soft run, I think. And if there's a bit of pressure on him or he has to do a bit of work, then that might bring him undone. But look, he's certainly not the worst in the race, and he brings some pretty solid credentials over there.
Dan, just quickly before we let you go, Neptune Spear, a quick word on it?
Yeah, look, I think the opposite. I think it looks to be battling for that race. Racing in Queensland, which is typically lower than New South Wales and Vic as far as 2-year-olds go, except for the rare one. And to be honest, the ratings there are, still well below the best horses we've seen in Queensland this season. So, look, I wish the Connections best of luck, but yeah, might be struggling to win that in my opinion.
Fantastic, Dan. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the coverage on both sides of the Tasman. If you are a Twitter fan, jump on there and give Dan a follow at TRB Horse Racing. Plenty of good information for you to find on there. Thad Taylor's back on board with us. Thad, good morning. We're on the eve of the Karaka Millions. How are you feeling?
Nervous, Matthew. Look, I don't know what it is about these 6-race cards, but you throw these in a twilight meeting, you throw in the quality of horses that we have, and look, there's no doubt the turnover is going to be exorbitant tomorrow afternoon, and it already is reflecting that. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of interest and a lot of betting. We're going to be dodging a few favourites, I'd suggest again, Sword of Osman, Madison County, and in particular Volpe Veloce after that huge run in the Railway.
OK, we'll start off with Madison County. Is he leading multi-betting in the 3-year-old?
Yeah, look, it's going to be a very similar situation at this stage to what we saw on the Levin Classic around Madison County. We opened him up quite short, I think 210. Like, he closed down at that price, but there was a lot of action around him leading up to that, and there has been again because it is such a good betting field. I have no doubt Madison County will close somewhere down near that 270 mark come the off, but at this stage, look, Miss LeBass has gone 15 into 12. There's money for Longleaf, there's money for Surely Sacred. One horse there has been absolutely not a drop for is the 1,000 Guineas winner, Media Sensation. As soon as she drew the outside barrier gate, we just haven't seen a dime. So $15 looks a big price for the 1,000 Guineas winner, but they're not interested from that gate. But I think come the jump, Matthew, it'll be all about Madison County.
Thad, the 2-year-old race, you've had a couple of different favourites flip-flopping between Probabeel and also Whiskey Neat. The barrier draw having Whiskey Neat back to favouritism. What's the money telling you?
Yeah, look, it is with Whiskey Neat now. It's going to be hard for Probabeel to overcome that draw, but look, Probabeel was favourite when we closed the futures market, and we thought a deserved favourite leading up to that ahead of Whiskey Neat. Obviously, they've both been particularly impressive, but now to overcome that wideish barrier draw, look, he's going to be charging home Probabeel. He's been impressive. I think if he'd drawn any gate, I think he would be favourite in the race. So that's the quality of the horse, but obviously they're going with the barrier draw, they're going with the unbeaten horse in Whiskey Neat at this stage. Certainly not to say Probabeel's friendless, but they just slowed them down with that wide barrier draw.
Can you give us a push for anything else on the undercard on Saturday, Thad?
Yeah, look, the one I mentioned, Volpe Veloce, Matt, has been, we've already had four four-figure bets, I'll get that out, on Volpe Veloce since we've opened this market. I think currently $2.70 and extremely well backed. Sword of Osman again is another one. Bit of money for She's a Thief in the same race as Sword of Osman. And have a look at that Concord, Matt. That's the only market where we don't have a strongly backed favourite. Very, very even. Androssan, Stratocaster, Spring Heat. And you've got the Railway Quinella, Princess Kiruru and Santa Monica out at 4th favourite, and I think about 7th favourite. So gives you some idea of the strength of that race.
A couple of other New Zealand meetings. They had 10 races at Riccarton, also 8 races at Trentham. Have there been any money leads across those 2 meetings that are reportable at this stage?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said there was, Jason, that there's some good betting fields there. I see the Timaru Stakes here with Kiwi Ida and the Precious One. Does look a nice race to bet into, but yeah, all eyes for Ellerslie, I'd suggest. They're going to be pipe openers until we get to the main course there at Ellerslie tomorrow night.
Special? Thad?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of Probabeel fans, Matthew, and look, as I say, I think he would have been favourite in the race had the barrier draw fallen his way. He's going to be booming home. I think if you want to back Probabeel, this is the way to back him. In option 955, Probabeel refund second or third, $3. So you can have $3 for Probabeel to win. If he's booming home and just gets knocked off or doesn't quite get there, second or third will give you your money back. So I think that's not a bad way to back Probabeel if you are a Probabeel fan.
Thanks so much, Thad. Enjoy your day tomorrow. I hope that you can take some time away to actually enjoy the racing as well as doing your job. So good luck.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers.
There we go. He's a good man, Thad. $3 Probabeel. Thoughts on the price?
She's a super filly, so you are getting that insurance. That must be tempting for you, Aidan.
Yeah, it is. You know how much I enjoy those money back specials, Jason. So yeah, I'll have a little bit on. I'll round my bet up to 500 with the rest on that.
Okay, we've got about 2 minutes left, so
we've
you
got
can
bank
start
bets to
with
go
the
through.
bank bets.
Okay, quickly
Graphics, please.
Quickly through the bank bets. And you need to go online here. Look, a couple of these races at Ellerslie have played a couple of runners that I think are reasonable sort of prices, so make sure you go to the Punters Lounge on the tab.co.nz website for that. I've got a play in the listed Timaru Stakes as well. I thought that the Precious One was a good bet along with Feeling the Love. And my best is at Riccarton, Rock on Even, race number 5. And I thought a really good bet as well. Bill Thurlow trains calling us home. He's got 3 runners there on paper that look like they all will go very close to winning. But after this, for the Punters Lounge, we'll be previewing the listed Timaru Stakes, and also for our social, we'll be going across all the races over the weekend.
Yep, looking forward to that, the Punters Lounge. So get that on the website. Take you through mine, and here we go. We're going to take 53 on the TFC special.
Oh, you're back. 2 over 5. He's
Even
back.
you want a round figure?
Yeah, so 2 over 5 in the context of my bet. So we've got. Yeah,
Black Rocks detox, is that a thing? Is that something that you can actually do?
Well, they tell me that the owners of the horse were rather hungover after Karaka Million night, and then they bought a horse the next day. So I guess there must be something in the detox there. So we've got a pick 6 and a play 6 there as well. So 10% anchoring Sword of Osman. But the pick 6 is well worth playing on this night. Good fun. Couple from Trentham as well, Capanos and Cotton Eve, $20 a win, just to identify that I'm really liking them both. So a $500 spend.
I'm going to make Cotton Eva the best bet of the weekend
Nice.
for what that's worth. And I've got a couple of other bets as well. At Trentham, Platinum Mamselle in race number 3, Merlini, 50 to win race number 4. Shed Secrets, come up short enough in the 5th, Cotton Eva. Queen Jets in race number 6, Riccarton, been waiting for her for a long time to pop up. The same for Star Maker. Gee, it's frustrating, that horse. And a wee multi, $200, Sword of Osman into Madison County. $505. I have to take that $5 off my Elite Lock fund, but anyway. For you?
Have we got Stu? Have we got Stu's bets?
Stu's will be up on
tab.co.nz
tab.co.nz on the Punters Lounge. You'll find all that.
This is a big weekend, and I know sort of sales weeks, these are our best. So Rock on Eva for me. Rock on Eve, rather, for me.
Yep, Sword of Osman for me. And just a quick update, boys get paid, just tweeted 147,000 in the kitty there.
It's all about, I know the Karaka sort of million night and also the subsequent sales that go over Sunday night and 3 days, Monday to Wednesday, book 1. That's about the breeding, but in many respects, it's about the punt. Because the people that have invested into the industry punt on getting a horse into the 2-year-old $1 million race, and then a year later, maybe even having them right for the 3-year-old $1 million race. And then you've got the Boys Get Paid syndicate and all those people around New Zealand and Australasia that are betting into the 6-race program. So it's going to be one heck of an afternoon at Ellerslie.
Yeah, can't wait.
Okay, gentlemen, enjoy your time at Ellerslie. I'll join you from Trentham tomorrow. That has been the first call for another week. Happy Karaka Million punting to you all.
I got gas in the tank.